has now rested their case in the murder trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Judge Bruce Schroeder dismissed the jury until Monday, when closing arguments are expected to be held. Now, Kyle was charged last summer with the murder of 2 arsonist rioters and the attempted murder of another. This has become one of the most politically polarizing criminal cases in recent memory and a true litmus test on the right to defend oneself. Here's a look back at some of the key moments of the trial.
I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, well, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
May I respond?
Yes.
Everybody that you shot at that night, you intended to kill, correct?
I didn't intend to kill them. I intended to stop the people who were attacking me.
By killing them?
I did what I had to do to stop the person who was attacking me.
By killing them?
2 of them passed away, but I stopped the threat from attacking me.
By using deadly force?
I used deadly force.
That you knew was going to kill?
I didn't know if it was going to kill them, but I used deadly force to stop the threat that was attacking me.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
But you decided you needed to run because of the fire in the Duramax?
Yes.
Why? What was so urgent?
It was a fire.
There's fires all over the place, so?
Look over my shoulder, and Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side, and I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were there were 3 people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what I...
Now, if you watched the trial, looked at the facts, and are an honest person, you would probably agree that Kyle has a strong self-defense claim. Join me now to weigh in, criminal defense attorney and anchor at Law and Crime Network, Bob Bianchi. Bob, thank you for joining me. So, Bob, I'll say how the media first all reported this versus what we learned during the trial. Very different here. Originally, there was a story painted that Kyle was, this vigilante who was heading to town, had no business there, a white supremacist, a man looking just to kill people. And it turns out it doesn't really look like that's the case.
Well, when I was prosecutor, Stephanie, if I could tell you all the times that I wish I could just shoot down the articles in the media, but it's an unrelenting thing, and the facts are often so askew, especially in a politically charged case, it's unfortunate. However, that said, the facts are the facts, and the interesting thing in this particular case is, from a prosecutor's perspective, this is a self-defense claim, and the prosecutor has to disprove self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. And the thing that struck me, looking at it as a homicide prosecutor, is that 2 of the government's witnesses actually supported the self-defense claim, and one of them was the victim who was shot, may I add, also with a weapon in his hand, rendering medical aid. This was a tense situation, and he even admitted Kyle Rittenhouse was in a bad situation. So too did an independent journalist that was there, saying that he was trying to be peaceable, he wasn't doing anything wrong. When the crowd directed their ire towards him, he was running away, trying to get away, and he knew that Kyle Rittenhouse was in danger. Lastly, Stephanie, you got a situation in which gunshots are going off, you got people assaulting him. It's definitely a solid self-defense claim. I don't care if you're on the right, I don't care if you're on the left. It seems to me that if you're on one team or the other team, people decide that they either like the guy or they don't. I'm looking at it straight as a lawyer. Can I make one last point, Stephanie?
Sure.
Please? Yeah, the thing that really got to me as a lawyer and as a prosecutor in particular was when the prosecutor cross-examined Rittenhouse. The judge didn't clarify it so much in that clip. He came right out and said, "Why didn't you ever tell us this before?" I think every trial lawyer, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, independent, jumped out of their seats and said, "My God, man, what are you doing? You're commenting on his right to remain silent. Post-arrest silence. This is one of the most basic constitutional rights we have. It protects the innocent and the guilty." That lawyer had to know what he was doing wrong, like the judge indicated. It was a grave constitutional mistake. It's a sign of desperation that he did it. Number two, I think it was done purposefully. No lawyer knows that they cannot do that. Not only may it cause a reversal of the case, it's not fair to the families whose loved ones are now dead. It's not fair to the defense. It's not fair to the court. And this judge has been rebuked heavily because he basically came down like a ton of bricks. I've seen worse in the courtroom. But what that judge was basically saying that was so outrageous, he was going to spank that lawyer to tell him, "You went over the line with that comment." And what amazes me about it is that there's trials going on all over the country right now. Is this what we're condoning? Prosecutors abusing the system, commenting on people's right to remain silent? Would that be tolerated by the people who are in favor of what the prosecutor is doing here? Would that be tolerated if their loved one was in a courtroom and a prosecutor did that to them? It's amazing to me how people from, like, I'm not saying the ACLU is involved in this, or on the more we're in favor of constitutional rights, would not see this for what it is, an egregious and outrageous attack on the Constitution, not Kyle Rittenhouse, the Constitution of the United States. If he were my assistant prosecutor after this trial when I was the prosecutor, I'd ask him to come down, irrespective of the verdict, and he had boxes to pack his stuff, he'd be fired.
Yeah, harsh words. I mean, it's so warranted, and you're right here. It was the assistant district attorney, Thomas Binger. He got an epic spanking from the judge, rightfully so. So I'm glad that you laid that all out there. Really quickly, I wanted to go over these really quickly. We have a graphic of Joseph Rosenbaum, and this is what happened. On 2 occasions, he told Kyle that he was going to kill him once he had him alone. He said that he was going to cut Kyle's heart. He chased Kyle down and lunged toward him and grabbed the barrel of his rifle. Also, Anthony Huber. He chased Kyle down the street, attacked him with a skateboard, and the prosecutor was trying to make the case that a skateboard for some reason isn't a dangerous weapon, which was like pretty ridiculous. And then Gage Grosskreutz, which we showed the video and you had discussed, he admitted to pointing a pistol at Kyle's head. So again, the self-defense case is very strong. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for what happens on Monday. Bob, thank you so much for breaking this all down. We appreciate it.
Of course, Stephanie.
Of course. Thank you.